Welcome guys to my YouTube channel. So there would be a sequence of lectures on JavaScript where I would be teaching about some basic concepts of JavaScript, and then we would be moving forward to some advanced concepts of JavaScript. So starting from JavaScript. So what is JavaScript? Okay. So JavaScript is like a object oriented language, which means we have to deal with objects. JavaScript is dealing with objects. And one of the most important features of JavaScript is like we don't have to maintain memory like which we used to do in C++ and all those things. So it is really helpful. Okay, so that's why it is known as a high level languages. So to give a broad definition, JavaScript is a high level object oriented languages which is used to perform some basic animation or advanced animation onto the web. So whenever you have visited a particular site, you could see a spinner animation. When you hover a button, its text changes or its color changes. So all those things are done in JavaScript. Okay, so JavaScript is basically provides you dynamic effects to your front end application. In front end application there are certain libraries also, like for example React, Angular, Vue.js. So these are used, or what we say, based on JavaScript. So these libraries may change in near future. Some new languages comes, new libraries come. So basically JavaScript will remain same. So if you know JavaScript, handling other libraries would be a very much easy task. JavaScript is also used in backend. Okay, in for example Node.js is using JavaScript syntax. So combining front end application and back end application with similar syntax kinds of help. Okay, so let's start about values. Okay, values in JavaScript is basically, you can consider it as two types. One is object and one is primitive. So let's move into the VS Code and see it. So okay, so I created a demo.js empty file. Okay, so what I said is we will be talking about values. So values is of two types. Okay, object and your primitive type. Okay, so for object type we know like it could be an array and all those things, but to keep it simple we will use the basic annotation. So key value pair, that is, so I would say name, let's just say name JS master. Okay, so this is like our object. Okay, we could say this is an object. So and primitive type is of seven types, which is your number, your string, your null, your undefined, your symbol, big int, okay, boolean. Okay, so basically these are seven primitive types, and we will basically using all these, except like we don't much use symbol, but it was used earlier in JavaScript. So basically we concentrate on number, boolean, string, null, undefined. Okay, we also know JavaScript has another set of features which is known as dynamic typing. Okay, what do you mean by dynamic typing? For example, before diving into the dynamic typing, let's just consider like how to assign a variables. Okay, let me just comment it out. How to assign a variable, how to assign a variables. Okay, so basically to assign a variable we can use let, const and var keyword. Okay, so you may be wondering what is let, what is const, what is var. So I would give you a very high level introduction upon these three. So let and const are was introduced in ES 2016, and whereas var was basically used from earlier days itself. So basically, what is the difference between all these three key assignment variables? Like how to let and const. Like let is like we can, what we say, for example, let a is equal to n. Okay, so what we have done here is like we have assigned a variable a to a value of n. So basically let allow us to store a value for a particular variable, and for that variable the value can be changed on to the later stages. Okay, so what I meant is like first iteration I would say it as a, and let me just change the value to b now. Okay, so what you guys think what would happen? Okay, let me just type it really fast. Okay, and let me run it. I am using node and then file. I just don't want to navigate between the browser, so it is kind of hack. So there is a failure. Okay, okay, because I haven't considered a variable, so it is showing b is not defined. My mistake. So I would be putting a, I would be clearing it, and I would say Node.js. Okay, so here you can see in output like first iteration it is showing n, and in second iteration it is showing as p. So what happened? So we just, like as I said, like when we assigned a variable to a let keyword, so basically what it happens is like we can change its value onto the later on stages. Like here we are changing the value to later on stages. Okay, so that is just a simple, like we usually use let and const. So const means constant. Okay, so as you can see from the term, like if I do const a equal to n, so what would happen is like now a value should be n only, and the value for this variable a shouldn't be changed. So I'm trying to change a to b, from n to b, so it won't allow us to do, so it would give us an error. Okay, assignment to constant variable. So that's let at const. So coming to the var is like it is also used as let, but it has different operation when we consider it as an in functional scope or not. We didn't learn about scope, but when we will learn about scope we will just talk about the difference between all these three. So let's move on to introduction to basically JavaScript. So we were talking about dynamic typing. Okay, dynamic typing. So what does dynamic typing means? Okay, so dynamic typing means like we just don't have to specify a variable like this is a integer variable, this is a string variable, this is a boolean variable. So it happens all around. So for example, let temp value is equal to 1. So now I could say console temp. Now I could say temp value. Okay, now I am changing this value to string. Let's just say this one, console temp value again is equal to temp value. So what would happen? It gives an assignment. Let me just comment it out. Okay, so here you can see temp value was 1. Now the temp value again is like this one. So dynamic typing is like means we can change the like variable from one type to another type. Here we are changing the temp value from number variable to a string variable. Okay, so we can change it to a boolean as well, like what we can say false, and I could say that temp1 is equal to again false. So basic concept is like we don't have to worry about cons- uh, like what we don't have to worry about if it is a integer integer variable or a string variable. It just figure it out on its own. Okay, it just take the latest state and it just takes that as a string, boolean, and etc etc. So the next concept and the last concept to this section 1 of fundamentals of lesson 1, or you could say lesson 1, would be backward compatible and forward compatible. Backward compatible and forward compatible. Forward compatible. So backward compatible. So what does backward compatible means? So backward compatible is nothing but we can say, like, for example, there was a syntax like let's just consider var. Okay, var was introduced like before 2016, is 2016. Okay, and let const after es 2016. So what does it means? Like, after es 2016, do we do var doesn't work? No, it do work. Okay, so what does backward compatible means? Like, future JavaScript can run your old JavaScript methods, functions, keywords. Okay, that means the new syntax of JavaScript or new keywords that has been introduced in JavaScript has the ability to run the code which was written in like 4 to 5 years back and all those things. Okay, so backward compatible just means past programs can run with the newly introduced code. Okay, forward compatible means like your present syntax, and you are trying to achieve the future syntax that is not yet released, and browser haven't implemented those new changes, so we can't run those, right? So that is the basically difference between backward compatible and forward compatible. So that was all about like lesson 1 of this series. So we will be talking about another stuff in lesson 2. Okay, till then, thank you guys, take care.